Updates with you here on the Pulse on Joy News. This is credible, independent and fearless news network, and we have the best for you this afternoon as we look into the very exciting issues happening today and the hours to follow and the days to go for. This is the Pulse with me, Elton Brobin. Now this afternoon, there appears to be no end in sight for the resolution of the cases filed against the anti-LGBTQ bill, as the Supreme Court adjourns Mr. Sky's case, granting him the opportunity to file a new motion.
After listening to all counsel, the court agrees with the suggestion of counsel for first defendant and orders the plaintiff applicant to file a fresh motion paper with supporting affidavit and statement of case. Plaintiff is also given leave to address any matters of fact and issues of law in the new process.
We have details from the Supreme Court where there was tense exchanges between the Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu and lawyer for the Speaker of Parliament, Thaddeus Osorih.
My lady, it's
a lawyer,
yes,
like yourself, like yes, you found yourself muddled up this morning. Oh, yes, you have. A lawyer files. I can see what his difficulty is.
And from the courtroom, the Electoral Commission assures all technical challenges, which mark the one of the limited voter registration exercise, they've been resolved. We are live on the grounds to assess the situation across the various districts where the registration is taking place. And later, we have more for you here on the Pulse, brought to you by Global Community Zigilu, affordable, safe sanitation for all. We're live on DSTV channel 421 and Go TV 125. My name is Elton Brobin. You can follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and manjoyonline.com for these and more here on the Pulse. Welcome back to the Pulse. Now let's settle for the details, because this afternoon we're going to spend a lot of time in court today understanding the legalities and the technical words that were used today and to try to make sense of what had happened today. Now, efforts to resolve some legal disputes which President Akufo-Addo has cited for his refusal to receive the bill, that's the anti-LGBTQ bill, have set a snag. Now, one of the cases filed by Richard De La Sky has been adjourned indefinitely to allow the legal practitioner and broadcaster to file a fresh motion to take care of some mistakes in his earlier motion. There were also some intense verbal exchanges between the Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu and lawyer for the Speaker of Parliament, Thaddeus Osorih. Member of our Legal Affairs Desk, Kwaku Asante, such through proceedings, and he joins me here with more shortly. But first, here are excerpts of what transpired in court this morning.
Mary Wendy Yeboah, we have 7 pages. It was that omission.
So you just said Mary Wendy Yeboah filed, please hold on, let me land.
No, I'm not going to say.
Mary Wendy Yeboah filed another affidavit on the 2nd of April?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
No, 15th.
15th of what?
15th of March.
How can you withdraw an affidavit on the 2nd of April and file a second one on the 15th of March?
No, Mary Wendy Yeboah's own was filed on the 15th of March, 2024, at 2:30. Yes. Very well. Then Pumayas was filed subsequently, or it's the other way around. Pumayas was filed to correct the error on Mary Wendy Yeboah's affidavit. But each of them raised. So my lady will look at Mary Wendy Yeboah's affidavit and realize that from page 5, that's where it ends.
I'm sorry.
No, my lady, I've got it right.
You can hear me very well.
Yes, my lady.
You appreciate the pickle we are in.
Yes, my lady.
You filed an affidavit on the 15th of, please hold on, don't interrupt me. You filed an affidavit on the 15th of March.
Yes, ma'am.
You withdrew it on the 2nd of April.
Yes, ma'am.
You filed the second one by Pumaya on the 2nd of April.
Yes, ma'am.
So your substantive affidavit before, please.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Always wait for me to learn.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it.
Your substantive application affidavit before us is dated the 2nd of April.
Yes,
and is the affidavit of Pumaya.
Yes, my lady. Yes, but
so why are you referring to?
I got mixed up because I have 4 cases this morning, and I just mixed up my paperwork. I've now got it right.
Listen, let me land. If you had just waited to understand my words instead of rushing to justify yourself, you would have admitted that you didn't have a formal notice to object,
yes, ma'am.
And that your notice to object would be your affidavit. Then you can go on to Pumaya's affidavit. So where in Pumaya's affidavit now do we have your objection?
So, my lady will look at paragraphs 7, 8 of the said affidavit. Okay, take it. Paragraph 7 says that the plaintiff applicant's first prayer endorsed on the face of his motion paper is modeled up in the difficult to understand prayer to restrain the Speaker and the Clerk of Parliament.
Mr. Sorry, hold on.
Yes, madam.
How is that expressive of a preliminary legal objection to move an application to amend?
My lady, it is
a lawyer,
yes,
like yourself, like yes, you found yourself muddled up this morning. Oh, yes, you have. A lawyer files. I can see what his difficulty is. When you read, you can see he left out some words. You chose to denigrate that what happened in his expressions by describing it as muddled and confused. And the man now wants to correct himself by expressing it fully. And you say you have a preliminary legal objection.
Yes, my lady.
Where is the legality?
The legality lies in the fact that the motion paper invokes the jurisdiction of the court. And if there is an irregularity on the face of the motion paper, which I am pointing out as the foundation to which I am not accepting what he has found.
No, hold on.
Yes.
Which motion paper?
His motion for injunction.
The man is not seeking. Hold on.
Yes.
Whenever I start, stop.
Oh.
You are going to interrupt me.
Very well.
Then you wouldn't hear what I have to say.
Very well, my lady.
The man's application is not to amend his motion paper. His application is to amend his reliefs.
Very good. And my lady will realize that I'm saying in paragraph 7 that his first relief is modeled up in a difficult to understand.
Hold on.
And there's a second one.
Stop.
Yes.
And this is why I'm telling you that the application before us is to correct that muddled up expression. Do you not see that?
And so I'm saying, so my point is that is my objection to it. But
he should not correct himself.
Oh, yes, because you see,
he should not.
Yeah, there's authority on this from this court on that point. That once there's an objection taken to it, you cannot overreach that objection with a proposal to amend.
Hold on.
So that's all I'm drawing the court's attention to.
Stop there, Mr. Stop there.
Yes, ma'am.
Stop there. We began this morning by my asking, when you spoke about the preliminary objection, I said, did you give a formal notice?
Yes, ma'am.
Hold on. Now, if you had given a formal notice, anyone would have known. But in your affidavit, you only described your opinion.
No, what I found
that's not a preliminary legal objection.
Well, maybe it is not stated that it's stated as an opinion, but what I was stating what I found objectionable about it. And this court has also said that I don't even need that formal notice, that I can get up when he's about to move and take that preliminary objection. Trustees of the Synagogue Church of all nations. And the string of them from the court that I didn't need.
Mr. Sorry, I'm not impressed by what you're doing.
Very well,
but just finish it.
I'm sorry. So,
finish it.
So I'm saying that
it's not fair to your friend. I don't think so. But you want to do it, do it.
I'm relying on the authorities from this court to take my preliminary objection, that I'm entitled to take it just when he's about to move it.
So just do it.
And my second point is that...
No, what is your first point?
My first point is that...
You have been more muddled up this morning.
Order in court, please. Order.
The plaintiff is not entitled to overreach my objection to the reliefs endorsed on the face of his motion paper on his application for an injunction. Because those reliefs were endorsed on his motion for injunction. And in my affidavit in opposition, I have raised an objection to the manner in which the reliefs are couched.
Hold on.
Yes, my lady. Okay.
The plaintiff is not entitled to overreach. Please, hold on. Let's have some order. The plaintiff is not entitled to overreach my objection to the reliefs on his application for injunction.
Yes, ma'am.
Because
once I have indicated my objection to the reliefs endorsed on the face of his application for injunction, he cannot avoid the consequences of that objection by filing a motion for leave to amend those reliefs and render redundant my objection.
So you want to be able to dance with your objections. That's all.
As every other counsel and party is entitled to. And the case of Ahinakwa II versus Okaija III makes this point that an application for leave should not...
What's your citation?
2011, one Supreme Court of Ghana law report at 205. My lady may want to look at page 216.
And what's at page 2 and 6?
2 and 6. That an application for leave.
Read from page 2 and 6.
Yes, my lady.
Is it read?
It's a bad debate decision. That an amendment ought not to be allowed for purposes of defeating an objection to a process. And my submission is that the effect of allowing him to amend is that my depositions in my affidavit in opposition, which contests those reliefs in his on the face of his motion paper, would effectively now be defeated. That is the point that I'm making. And my lady, the case of trustees of the Synagogue Church of all nations, 2010 Supreme Court of Ghana law report, quotes a string of authorities which say that I am entitled to give a notice, formal notice of objection by way of an application, or raise it at a point when he's about to move his motion, since it is a point of law. But Malaria, I'll take cue from the point that you've made, that maybe next time I should give him formal notice. But I thought, no, the court says I'm entitled to do the two. But if the court now prefers that we should do one, I'm guided by the court. But I'm guided by the previous decision of the court, which establishes my point.
Round up.
Madam Lady, I pray accordingly. It is clear from the two affidavits, even if the court takes the view that one was offensively or purportedly withdrawn, the second one or the first one still contained the same objection. So he should have waited. I think he's overshot the runway. My lady, then the most important thing in the learned Attorney General's submission, and let me corroborate his point that he's my very good friend, is the attempt to even say when the plaintiff has admitted that there is something wrong with his motion paper, he still takes the view that there is nothing wrong with the motion paper. Because by the very motion they have filed to amend, what I'm saying is that the plaintiff himself has seen the problem based on the objection and has filed a motion. Yes, my lady.
Listen, he says there is no material difference between the original relief,
yes, my lady, and
the amendment sought.
Good.
The error only seeks to correct an error in formulation.
And my lady,
that's all he said.
If there is no material difference, there is no point in the application. That's the point. If there's no material difference. Yes, my lord. So
can you resume your seat? Kindly resume your seat.
Which actually deals a blow to the application.
Kindly resume your seat.
And respectfully, I am supported by Order 20 Rule 8 of CI 47. And this CI 16 has no provisions on affidavits. The only provision on the content of affidavits is as contained in Order 20 Rule 8 of CI 47. And it stipulates that an affidavit shall contain only facts that the deponent can prove. Respectfully, there's no room for matters of law. And I think that, indeed, this affidavit, to the extent that it doesn't bring any new fact, doesn't state any fact at all, ought not to be allowed. Secondly, Rule 9 of Order 20, CI 47, again, says the court may order any matter which is scandalous, offensive, irrelevant, or otherwise oppressive to be struck out of an affidavit. Respectfully, all the matters here are very much scandalous. In terms of the use
You've already said so.
Precisely. And I think that, indeed, my friend has the opportunity of filing an affidavit together with the motion that the court, I'm sure, has already granted leave for him to amend. And he can state it. But of course, he must be cautioned that it cannot be the insertion of any scandalous or argument of law. I pray accordingly.
By court, after listening to all counsel, the court agrees with the suggestion of counsel for first defendant and orders the plaintiff applicant to file a fresh motion paper with supporting affidavit and statement of case. Plaintiff is also given leave to address any matters of fact and issues of law in the new process. Plaintiff applicant is given up to 17th of May. So now you have moved from 9th to 17th of May. Up to 17th of May, 2024, to further new processes. Counsel for defendants are given 7 days after service on them to file any processes that they may wish to. But
I'm proud just to point out that he should address new matters of fact in the affidavit, not issues of law. Especially that would be offensive on the rules. Affidavit contains matters of fact, new matters of fact.
And I said so.
So this is what transpired in court this morning. At the end of this, the decision of the court was that the case has been adjourned indefinitely. The two cases that were before the court this morning. Kwakwa Asante was in court today. Kwakwa, welcome to the post. Also, let me bring in a private legal practitioner, Mr. Martin Kwebu. Mr. Kwebu, it's always a pleasure to have you here on the post. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Broby.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes. So, my apologies for keeping you on the line, but let me quickly allow Kwakwa Asante just some few minutes. Kwakwa, so break it down to the understanding of a 10-year-old boy. What transpired in court this morning?
Well, this morning in court, the 5-member panel presided over the Chief Justice herself, Justice Gertrude Tokono, Justice Yawa Saridakon, Professor Henrietta Mensah-Bonsu, Justice Mariam Owusu, and Les Gaiwo, presided over the two cases that have been filed against the controversial anti-LGBTQ bill. The main order of business for today was to hear the injunction application that those two persons have filed, Richard Elaskai, broadcaster, and Dr. Amanda Ado, a researcher. They are asking the Supreme Court to injunct Parliament from seeking to give the president the anti-LGBTQ bill that the House passed, and seeking to also restrain the president from acting on this. So that was the main order of business for today. But when proceedings started in court, lawyers for Richard Elaskai had two applications to make the court. They wanted to seek leave to file supplementary affidavits, an application
to amend their
earlier reliefs. Because they had filed a rate that had been endorsed on it, a number of reliefs. That is what they were seeking from the court. And now they were seeking to amend some of them because of the way they had worded it.
Right.
The wording was not so clear, and in fact, that is what Thaddeus Sori described as muddled up. And so they wanted to amend those parts. Like you've seen from the interaction, Thaddeus Sori clearly in opposition to that, but the Attorney General asking the court to grant that application. There was this back and forth for a long time. Ultimately, the court deciding that they will give Richard Elaskai and his lawyers the opportunity to file a fresh motion for injunction, and file that in court. And then the parties on each side will be allowed the opportunity to review them. Then there was a second case as well.
And they are supposed to respond to the court on the 17th of May.
Exactly. So these parties have to do that. Obviously, the court want to deal with these matters expeditiously, especially now that Parliament will be convening soon. This becomes such a big matter. And so once the application had been granted, that means that the court was not going to be able to go into the substantive motion again, because this is the same motion that the court says they should refile. And so that had been dealt with. The adjourned this case signed that is indefinitely. Then there was a second case filed by Dr. Amanda Odoi, the same fact,
almost seeking the same reliefs.
Seeking the same reliefs almost, and asking the court to injunct the president from receiving the bill. Again, the lawyers were also not going to argue it because they had taken exception to certain language that they said Thaddeus Sori had used in the affidavit. And normally affidavits are not written by the lawyers, or they are written by the party, and they will normally be, you have been verily advised by counsel and believed him to be true. And they said some of the language that had been used were intemperate and inappropriate. This is a view the Chief Justice and the panel agreed with, that Thaddeus Sori and his clients had used certain language that they felt were too strong. And so they asked him also to withdraw that process that he had filed in court and filed new ones that did not contain those strong words. The bottom line of this is that those two cases today seeking to injunct the president were not, the substantive case was not heard because of these earlier technicalities. The court has now adjourned both cases indefinitely for these new processes to be filed. Then the court will again reconvene, hear this, and make a ruling.
The Chief Justice explained why he allowed cameras in the courtroom.
Well, the Chief Justice herself has not spoken at all to this. We know that only yesterday, 7th May, the Attorney General Godfrey Debordame wrote to the Chief Justice asking her to allow live proceedings because of the huge public interest in this anti-LGBTQ bill and the cases that have been filed in court. The Chief Justice, as we now know, has approved that request. And in fact, indeed, when we went to court today, we are allowed to go into the courtroom with all our live equipment, our camera. That is something you would normally not be able to do.
Right.
But the Chief Justice having granted that, allowed that. We expect that maybe in the ruling of the court subsequently, when the entire case is dealt with, the court may explain why they did that. But the Chief Justice in the chair today did not speak to that. But after court, the Attorney General says he expects that the Chief Justice and the judiciary will allow the media the free space to be able to broadcast. So this case, up until when the case is resolved, media men are allowed to go in there with their live equipment to beam this live for everybody to see.
And I guess that made your work quite easy today.
Quite easier, because everybody now sees what has happened. You just have to come and give them a brief.
All right. Thank you very much, Kokwa Sante. Is our legal affairs correspondent. He was in court and he brought us those details. Now let me bring in lawyer Martin Pebu. So, Mr. Pebu, your initial talks on what happened to Gary, for a lot of Ghanaians, they thought the substantive case was going to be heard. And then we're saddled with technicalities and legal jargons. Eventually, the two cases before the court adjourned indefinitely. It's unclear when the court will fix a date to hear the substantive case. But your initial comments on what transpired in court today, before we now look into the other issues of the live transmission and then the words that the Chief Justice described as, inappropriate and offensive.
Okay, so for me, from a lawyer's perspective, What happened today isn't anything extraordinary. It happens. It's normal. It happens all the time. In a lawsuit, that you'll find that some phraseology are out of place or did not even feature at all. And so you would want to correct those errors. So it's a normal thing. We are meant that to make changes all the time. That's just pretty normal. It's pretty normal.
And then the parties, especially those who are before court, asking the court for certain, rulings on the matter, they've been given up to 17th of May to file fresh motions. So does that mean that until the motion is filed, the court may not be able to fix a date to hear the substantive case?
Absolutely. Absolutely, because remember that the motion, so when we say the motion, that's in other words, the application or the process, the document before the court. The specific one we are talking about is the one for injunction. Mm-hmm. So the last guy wants an injunction. That's to stop the process of the signing the bill into law to be truncated, right? But here's the case, there are some mistakes in his documentation. So until he corrects all those mistakes, the case cannot go on. But in terms of going on, if you look at the timelines they gave, it is possible that they can return to court earliest end of June. Let me show you why.
Right.
They say the court gave the last guy up to 17th to file. That's about, today is 7th, right?
Today is the 8th of May.
Today is Wednesday, 8th, sorry. So 9 days. And they say when it is served on Attorney General and the others, they should respond within 7 days. So this is what happens. 17th, the last guy files. If he's able to follow up within 4 days, 5 days maximum, 4 days maximum, it should be served on the Attorney General. So 17 plus 4, it can take us to 21st May. That's maximum. But sometimes you can stand there and ensure that it is filed the same day. But if, let's say, you don't have time to follow up, let's give up to 4 days. So let's say maximum 21st. Now, so 21st, Attorney General and the rest have 7 days. So that should take us to 28th of May. So they should file by 28th. Then, once this gets back, so that they also take, when we say file, they also take their documents to the court to present to the court, but not to the judges directly, to the administrators, that's the registrar and his staff, right? So you see, we are 28th of May. Give or take, it takes a few days for these documents to be sent to the judges, because when these are filed, the registrar will have to send various copies to the judges, and then the registrar will confer with its chief justice to get a new date. So you see why I said latest end of June. If they are minded to go back, end of June is most likely workable. That's also provided none of the justices traveled. And if the judges traveled on the panel, if the chief justice thinks it will delay, because they've not yet heard the case itself, they can replace the judge so that the case can go on. So if everything works according to plan, it's possible to go back ending of June. But if it doesn't work according to plan, you can go into July.
Yeah, you are a lawyer and you have appeared before the Supreme Court many times. I mean, the banter on TV, a lot of people and some of us, saw it for the very first time. The banter that ensued between the Chief Justice and, of course, the lawyer for the Speaker of Parliament, Sorry, words like sit down, keep quiet, don't interrupt me. Are these normal when it comes to proceedings before the Supreme Court?
You see, I'm laughing. When you say normal, that's I'm now looking for trying to process it. So this, what happens? It depends on the individual judge. You see, we have different temperaments. So that's the way to answer it. Some, that's on the side of the judges and then also on the side of the lawyers. So ordinarily, a judge and the etiquette of the rules, the etiquette or the rules say that when the judge is talking, as a lawyer, wait, let her finish. But as to when to see when the judge is done or not done, it's difficult to tell. So that's how come sometimes you see that a lawyer responds that the judge is saying, no, I'm not done. So that is where the issue is. Seeing when the judge is done so that the lawyer can come in is where the difficulty is. Yes, you get it. So, right. But there's the other side to that culturally. Yeah, there's a bit of our culture also infiltrating in the way we practice. So we're a bit differential to judges, but it's coming down. It's coming down. So gradually it will disappear. Yeah, right. It will disappear. It's natural. It's part of the growth. It's part of the democracy. It's part of development. Decades ago, hey, who born dog? No. It was a lot more controlled by the judges. But democracy is populating. It's getting in there where judges are getting more accommodative. That okay, times have changed, so the banter should be allowed. Okay, because it helps to move things faster. So it's just a matter of time. Yeah. You know, when you compare, so you see, when you look at it and then you want to compare to the US Supreme Court or UK and the rest, you see, you see that definitely we are different. As right. I said, the cultural setting and everything is different. That one, there's a limit. Let's just allow, we will grow. We will grow gradually. Yeah.
Right. But Mr. Pebu, other issues that came up, the Chief Justice raising issues about some choice of words used by Mr. Tajasori in his affidavit. I mean, words like she cited the use of despicable and desecration in processes filed by a lawyer of the Speaker of Parliament. There was also the use of these people. Justice Tokonu cited a description of the private members in one of the plaintiff processes simply as these people. I mean, choice of words, how does it become a matter that a court must look at, pick them one by one, and say that these are inappropriate, and so you should find a way to amend it?
Yes, so sometimes, so now we are discussing general principles. I'm not in the case, I've not seen the rest of the sentence, so I'm not judging the specific phrases that have been used in terms of the context. I lack context, so I'm discussing the law generally. Yes, generally as a rule, sometimes some sentences and some words can be offensive. So even in our own rules, they provide. So you heard a lawyer referring to Order 20 and then etc. So they'll tell you that when the words are scandalous, when they are vexatious, when they are frivolous, so sometimes the court will ask you to amend when you scandalize somebody. So this one, let's hazard a guess, like despicable. If it is the gay manifestation of gayism, right? That I'm not sure, but we're just giving an example because of the context of this. If somebody is gay and you refer to the person being gay as being despicable, certainly that would be offensive. Yes, that would be offensive. Notwithstanding our cultural setting here that generally in Ghana, we don't accept gay conduct, we don't want manifestation of gayism. But the reality is that some people are gay. So once they are gay, we ought to be sensitive to them. We can't refer to what they do as being despicable. No. Once they are human beings, we can't. We offend their sensibilities. So depending on the context, some words can be said to be intemperate. Don't forget, look, you see how Ghana we are growing. A few years ago, so about 8 years ago, when John Mahama was president and Bawumia was vice, when Bawumia started using the word incompetent on Mahama, you see that it was seen as offensive in Ghana. At a point, Mahama couldn't take it. How can Baumia refer to him as incompetent, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Now, fast forward, today you see it's a regular word in Ghana.
Yes.
But for us in court, I can tell you that coincidentally, incompetent is a word that we use freely. From law school, you are taught. Because once the staff you put before the court don't meet the standards, generally will say what you brought is incompetent. So for a lawyer, the word incompetent is not an insult. But you look at it, its introduction into our general discourse in 2016, when Baumia started calling JM incompetent. You see how the reactions were and the rest.
Absolutely.
But now, how many years on? Nobody complains.
Nobody talks about it.
Baumia himself is receiving the same word incompetent, even with more superlatives. So that's so much for context and development.
Mr. People, before I let you go, two key issues. I mean, there's a huge public interest in this matter before the court because of the implication it will have in our society, what Parliament has done, and the fact that President Akufo-Addo says that we rather wait for the Supreme Court to take a decision on it before he will exercise his constitutional duty as to whether to accept or reject it. Now, the court for this morning decided, upon a request by the Attorney General, to open the door to allow the media to enter with their cameras, and so the proceedings today was telecast live. First, let's talk about the live telecast of the event and how that helped in terms of the adjudication of the case before the court and in terms of understanding. And then the public interest, for how long is the public going to wait for finality to be brought on this matter? And in terms of general politicking, how that feeds into the general narrative as we head towards the December elections.
Okay, so one, cameras are good. Yeah, when you bring in the media, you are engendering transparency. And justice itself needs a lot of transparency. Yeah, justice needs a lot because you say justice ought not to be done, but
to be seen,
ought to be manifestly seen to be done, right? So we want that even the whole process of it should look very just. So when it is transparent, it helps a lot. So the cameras are going to help. And then in the process, it will even up our game because as we deal with cameras in the court, then we begin to see the deficiency in our rules and the time wasted. You remember how the election petitions, because we're transmitting those live, broadcasting that live, we see how in no time it was clear to everybody that we need to change our rules. You can't spend 9 months on an election petition. You remember even in that year, that's the 2012 petition, which was done in 2013. It even had an effect on businesses because at the time, it was said that some businesses were waiting for the result before they would take investment decisions and all that. Fast forward, we came out with new rules that say that now we should finish within, 42 days or so?
Yes.
Yes. And see that we benefited from that. So trust me, this one too, once you bring cameras there and the public follow the proceedings and they comment, you will get feedback that will tell you that some things are not going well, so we should make changes. Because let's not forget, in Article 125, it stated therein that justice emanates from the people. Justice emanates from the people. So when the people feel something is not right, the justice system has to correct it, has to take feedback. So that's good. So the general politics is good. It's good generally. And let the process go on. The last part of your question, or let me say another part of it, is about how much time.
Exactly.
How much time? I don't see generally this case being finished in less than 6 months. Generally, I don't see it coming to an end in less than 6 months because there's a lot to be done. You see, even from the calculations we've done, the next time they'll be coming to court, maybe the earliest will be in about 6 months. So, and after that, so when they hear the injunction, there are other processes like directions, further arguments, and then before you talk about adjourning for judgment. Meanwhile, the court is going on vacation on 31st July. So, and returning sometime in October.
Right.
Returning sometime in October. So, In terms of timeline, generally, it will take a miracle for them to be done in less than 6 months. But if we are using the court's calendar and everything, that will be after 6 months. Yes.
And that means that maybe finality may be brought on this matter after the court return from its vacation. Or there may be a special vehicle that the court may say that because of the urgency of this matter, let's see through and deal with the matter, as expeditiously as possible.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible, but yes, I mean, why not? Depending on, yes, it's possible, except I'm just looking at it that urgency. So, okay, I'm trying to see the advocacy. Yeah, our society is clamoring for the law to be signed by President Kufuor, right? That's what makes it. Okay, I get that side of it. So let's see how it goes.
All right.
Yes, but there are also people's rights at stake.
Absolutely.
I'm also looking at imprisonment and the rest. So they tell you that we should hasten slowly because once there are fundamental human rights to at stake, we should allow all the various shades of opinions and arguments to be expressed so that when the court comes to a decision, it will be one that would be real justice. Let's not stampede the court.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lawyer Martin Pay, who is a private legal practitioner, for sharing your thoughts with us on this matter. This matter is of utmost importance to the people of Ghana. The reason being that, I mean, the outcome or whatever the court decision may be will have consequences in terms of the way forward regarding the law that was passed by Parliament. Now, a sponsor of the bill is a member of Parliament for Whole West in the Volta region, Emmanuel Bejura, and he joins me via Zoom to also share his thoughts on what transpired in court today. Honorable Bejura, you're welcome to the pause.
Thank you very much, my good Train. Let me also say good afternoon to my co-panelist, Lawyer Kwebu, and good afternoon to all cherished viewers.
Right, so you followed the proceedings today. I mean, at the start of it, many of us thought the court was going to go straight into the substantive matter. Now, they had to spend almost 3 hours debating technicalities and eventually came to the conclusion that the plaintiff, in this case, Richard Elaskar and Dr. Amanda, should go and amend their earlier motion and then present a new one on the 17th of May. And then I'm sure that beyond that, the court may take a decision. First, your initial reaction to what transpired in court today.
Well, let me first of all thank the Chief Justice for calling this case. As we all thought that he should never call the case, but eventually we've seen today that a case has been called. However, you all know the technicalities that normally happens in court. I'm not a lawyer, but it do happen in Parliament as well, where we are passing laws. Sometimes we use technicalities just to delay the process. The learned lawyer, Martin, has already explained the technicality behind some of this and why sometimes this case is delayed due to the incompetent filing of the case. And so I followed the case today. One of the things that I give out to the Chief Justice is for the fact that since the public issue, a public matter, she has decided that it should be opened up. The media was there to cover it. And so I'm happy that we are moving from this closed circuit kind of decision into an open decision where everybody will follow the case. We'll be looking at the body language of the judges, as well as both the plaintiff and the defendants, their lawyers, who want to see their body language, whether they are being remotely controlled by somebody or not. Having said that, giving it to the Chief Justice and the justices of the Supreme Court for allowing the camera, I believe it should continue till the case ended.
It's over.
My plea.
Yes, please go on.
My plea though is that this case will be expeditiously handled. I made mention of expeditiously because of the public interest that we all have on this case. We all know why we are here today. In the first place, this shouldn't have been, the case shouldn't have gone to court at all. And the president shouldn't have even mentioned, before even the case got to court, the president shouldn't have mentioned that someone is rushing to the Supreme Court to put an injunction on him for not assenting to the bill. And so for some of us, we have seen that the president has preempted the decision already that the case will go to court. And also, after preempting it, there were a few meetings that some colleagues who sponsored the bill had with the president, and his body language tells us clearly that he's not prepared at all to sign the bill. And so I want to...
You mean you had a meeting, some of your members had a meeting with the president after his announcement that somebody had gone to court and that he will wait for the outcome of the court?
That was just about 2 weeks ago. The Coalition of Proper Human Sexual Rights and Family Value Coalition have been to the presidency, Jubilee House, to meet with the president.
Right.
You can quote me on that. And the indication is that the case is in court. He is waiting for the case to come out of court. So clearly, if he had preempted that the case will be going to court, and he's waiting for the court to give a verdict before he takes decision, it clearly shows that he's not in the mood now. Do you know why? You heard my good friend Martin saying that this case will run into some difficulty. It's not possible that it will be, the judgment will be given immediately. Yes. In any case, they'll be going on legal vacation.
Yes, I was coming to that. To what extent are you hopeful? The timeliness of the suspension of this case is very key because of the huge public interest attached to it. And according to Martin Pay's own calculation, the directive given by the court, if they are able to comply with it by the 17th of May, is hoping that somewhere in the middle of June, the court may sit on it, and then it's likely the court will go on legal vacation in July and come back in October. My question was, can the court can a special court sit just to deal with this matter? I don't know what your reaction to this will be.
Well, I would have preferred the second option, that the court will have a special dispensation by sitting on it, knowing very well that there's a huge public interest and international interest, not only internal, but international as well. The international pressure on the president to see whether he's his own man, he believes in what he said, he believes in Ghanaianness, or he believes in being manipulated by the external world, and whatever the external donors or external partners said, that's what he will go by. And so we are waiting for the court to move faster. And so, just as you mentioned, maybe some of us should plead with the court that they should move faster if they can, speed it up, just as we have in Parliament, where sometimes we have certificate of urgency, or where things are taken, within some period, without waiting for the normal process. If the court can also do the same thing, because they also have their standing orders, they have the rules of court, which I believe that there should be some clauses in that rules of court to say that yes, because this case is of huge public interest, we will work on it and we will expedite action on it.
Just two quick questions before I let you go. The court had issues with some choice of words used by Tadio Sori, who represents the Speaker of Parliament in court today, in his affidavit in opposition to the motion filed by Richard Elaskai. And the court made mention of certain words. For example, Justice Tokoni cited a description of a private members in one of the plaintiff processes simply as these persons. And then she goes on to say that she cited the use of despicable and desecration in processes filed by lawyer Tadio Sori. In his description of the LGBT community, and the court had issues with this. And the court said that you should amend it because this language is absolutely not acceptable. What do you make of this?
Well, in Parliament, we also have unparliamentary words, as you know. There are certain words that you cannot use in Parliament. And so if the court also have issues with language, I believe that it is in the right place that the lawyer for the speaker should amend. And I don't think that is wrong at all. And I believe that the lawyer will do justice, he will go by and then amend some of those things, amend some of the words that needs to be amended. And so I don't have a problem with that, because we also do it in Parliament, where sometimes we ask our colleagues to even apologize to if it offends some of members or offends someone else. They are asked to apologize to the member that the issue of offense. And so there's nothing wrong with that. Every institution has its own way of doing things, and I believe the judiciary also have their terms that they use there. Yes, indeed, these are all technicalities. These are not issues that some of us who are not lawyers will understand.
Of course,
since an engineer will not understand some of these legal terms.
All right.
And so I may not understand some of these terms that they use there.
All right. Honorable Judge, finally and briefly for me, I mean, you spent years crafting this bill. I mean, you went through a lot of challenges, finally got it passed in Parliament. Now the Supreme Court has set the ball rolling. Your expectations?
Well, Elton, I just returned. I came back yesterday from Uganda, where we have a interparliamentary conference on family values and sovereignty. And I must say that we applauded the president of Uganda. Even though Uganda, we all know that the whole world, let me say international donors are against Uganda. The African community applauded the president. We even gave him a citation. I mean, parliamentarians across the globe, parliamentarians from Africa applauded President Museveni for standing for the African value, for standing for culture, for standing for things that we know an African, in his tribe. Let me tell you, some of the things that we saw were issues that maybe on another day we'll discuss it. It is an imposition of the West on us, which we have to be very careful. And that is why it is. I'm not too happy with the current president, our president Nadu Dankwa Akufo-Addo, that he cannot stand on his guts to say, no, enough of this nonsense. I want to stand as an African. Look, if your vice president, somebody who you claim to be your driver's mate, can say that as a Muslim, I will not accept this, and you, the president who is a driver, will not listen to your running mate, and you want your driver's mate, somebody who you claim should take over from you, is saying that I will not take it, I will not accept it. And you want to impose that person on us. What are you trying to say? It means that you yourself, you have a problem. And so, Elvin, this whole anti-LGBT thing, it is not only in Ghana, it is the whole African continent that is against it. And we must stand on our value system. We must stand on our culture. We must believe in what we believe in. Right. We should not allow anybody to impose their value on us. And we should not be afraid at all. I don't know what President Akufo-Addo is afraid of. If Ilet was in court and he signed it, I don't see why he cannot sign this. Unless he has something to hide that is not telling Ghanaians.
Right, thank you very much. Emmanuel Bejra is the Member of Parliament for Whole West in the Volta region and also a co-sponsor of the anti-LGBTQ bill. That is now a matter before the Supreme Court of Ghana. The court today asked that the plaintiff or those who are before the court do certain amendments to their earlier motion by the 17th of May. And then the court will now take a decision when to sit on the matter and deal with the substantive issue. So we're all waiting to hear the outcome of the court and then what President Akufo-Addo will do regarding the bill. Let's stay in court a little longer because manufacturers of the accidented train on the Tema-Mpakadan Railway are expected to fly into Ghana to conduct assessment and valuation of the damage. 4 persons are standing trial for the bizarre incident which occurred when the newly acquired train, which was on a test drive, ran into a parked truck on the railway. In court today, the state represented by Christabel Selma and Afuri argue that the investigators have been delayed because the manufacturers are yet to fly into the country to provide what is potentially the missing piece of the ongoing investigation. Member of the legal desk, Latif Idris, who was in court and has come to with this report.
In a bizarre and curious case of train accident caused by a tracked pack on the Tema-Mpakadan Railway, the state is now pinning its hopes on the Polish authorities or Polish manufacturers who are expected to fly into Ghana to conduct an assessment and valuation of the damage caused by the train accident. In court on Wednesday, the lawyer representing the state, Christabel Selma Anafuri, made the argument that that particular aspect of the investigations is very critical to the ongoing case and prayed to the court for an adjournment for the necessary investigations to be done. Lawyers for the accused, on the other hand, Richard Lapo, made the argument that that aspect of investigations, of assessment and valuation by the Polish manufacturers has no bearing on whether or not the court grants bail to his client. The sitting judge, Justice Lydia Mafu, after listening to both arguments, has granted bail up to the tune of 200,000 Ghana cedis with sureties on each of the 4 accused persons. They are also expected to report at the police station every Friday. An order has also been given to the state to furnish the court with all disclosures before or on the date of the recall, which is June 6th, 2024. From the Law Court Complex, Latif Idris reporting for Joy News.
And so in court, the presiding judge in the case of the minority leader, Dr. Kisela Tuforsen, who is being tried for causing financial loss to the state, does not want the case to travel beyond the end of July. The judge, Justice Afiasawa Asaribochi, had earlier imposed a timeline of early May to deliver her judgment. A deadline has been missed. In court today, the judge admonished the parties to deliver as expected of them to conclude the case before the next legal vacation. Legal Affairs correspondent Koko Asante was in court and has the following.
The High Court in Accra, presided over by Justice Afiasawa Asaribochi, has said the trial of Dr. Kisela Tuforsen should not travel beyond the end of July. Earlier, the court had fixed May 3, 2024 for judgment, but that did not hold following some recent developments. Dr. Kisela Tuforsen, the current minority leader in Parliament, together with Richard Jakpa, a private businessman, are standing trial for allegedly causing financial loss to the Republic in an ambulance deal in the sum of 2.37 million euros. Dr. Sylvester Animana, the second accused, was earlier charged together with the 2 persons, has now been discharged by the Attorney General's office, which filed a nolle prosequi to discontinue the charges against him. In court today, the court's attention was drawn to the fact that the lawyer for the third accused person, Thaddeus Sori, had filed witness statements for his client, but both lawyers for the state and the minority leader were served on the morning of the case being called again in court. Dr. Kisela Tuforsen and other accused persons are accused of willfully causing financial loss of 2.37 million euros to the state through a contract to purchase 200 ambulances for the Ministry of Health. The case has now been adjourned to 9th May at 12 noon for the third accused person to continue his evidence in chief. Reporting for Joy News, Kweku Asante, High Court Complex here in Accra.
And we'll stay in court because family of an 11-year-old boy who allegedly murdered by 2 teenagers for money ritual say they are disappointed the case was not concluded. The 2 teenagers accused of the murder, but the case has been adjourned to June 24 for closing addresses, and the judges summoned up before the jury who announced its verdict. Harrison Mensah is spokesperson for the family.
Well, obviously, we were expecting that the case judgment would be delivered today, but unfortunately, it didn't happen. We are so much disappointed, especially the mother and the father, because it has been a very difficult moment for them, and it has had a very big toll on them, because they want judgment to be delivered so that everybody will have his or her peace of mind to go about their duty. It's been over 3 years now, and we were given the date only to be disappointed today that the case has been adjourned to 24th of June. We only pray and hope that nothing crops up on the 24th and that judgment will be delivered and everybody will have his or her peace of mind to go about his or her normal duties.
This is a pause. You're on Joy News with me, Elton Brobe. Now, the Office of the Special Prosecutor has called for the return of unexplained wealth order, which it says was taken out of their act to conduct lifestyle audit into the finances of interested persons. Deputy Director of Strategy, Research and Communications, Ahmed Akon, made a call at the 14th Commonwealth Conference for Heads of Anti-Corruption Agencies in Accra. According to him, his absence is making trial of some cases difficult. He also alleged that some influential persons are sponsoring attacks on the work of the OSP.
The Office of the Special Prosecutor has come under public scrutiny over the period for its inability to successfully prosecute any suspect or any corruption-related case. Now, a good section of Ghanaians believe that with the level of financing and autonomy granted the OSP, he should have been doing more than just investigations. Addressing some of these concerns at the 14th Conference of Heads of Anti-Corruption Bodies here in Accra, the Director of Strategy, Research and Communications of the OSP, Sami Dako, says that it is not the case that the OSP is not doing much, but some of these criticisms are actually sponsored to smear the office.
And then we also face what we call sponsored attacks and propaganda, where those who are very rich and powerful, when you are investigating them, they tend to be able to offer some monetary incentive to even journalists, and they will consistently be attacking you and spewing counter and false information against your outfit, all in a hope to create that impression that we are all the same, nobody is perfect. Why are you trying to prosecute somebody or investigate somebody as if you are a saint? But the idea is that those of us in the anti-corruption industry are not saints. We're just trying to go by the law.
He indicates that the omission of a certain act from the setup of the OSP is hindering their work.
When the lawmaker was putting together the Office of the Special Prosecutor Act, they took something very key out of it, which in implementing our law, we've discovered that it shouldn't have been done, which is what we call the unexplained wealth order. It was taken out of the OSP Act, and it's a very problematic matter for us because of the caliber of people we are to investigate. They are more complicated, they have more money, they have more people, they can get the best lawyers and all that. And this is a provision that would have helped us to do lifestyle audits in a better way. Currently, if we are doing a lifestyle audit, the onus lies on us throughout the entire investigation to show to the court how they committed the corruption. But if we have this, we are sure that when we're able to prove that your lawful income does not match your assets, then the burden shifts to you. We don't have that.
One key challenge the three investigative bodies, SHRAJ, IOCO and the OSP, have bemoaned is the lack of domestic collaboration between them to address issues brought before them effectively.
Well, what some people call turf war. That is where maybe there is a particular issue that the two or more agencies have to collaborate. But one agency will think that if I cede my turf to another agency to collaborate or to take part, it is going to make me unpopular or is going to make the head of institution unpopular. There is always a rush or haste to take credit, unwarranted suspicion.
Director of Anti-Corruption at the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, Stephen Azantilo, says there is the need for change of mindset among Ghanaians and leaders of anti-corruption agencies to help win the fight against corruption.
You can cheat officers left, right, center. You can put people in jail. You can put all those who are sitting here in jail and bring a new set of people who still have corruption. So we have started doing what we call changing mindset, and that we are trying to. That's why we want to start with the educational system. We're looking at starting from the young children who are in school, trying to change their mindset about looking at the whole aspect of life, so that we'll see how we can fight corruption.
Participants across the African sub-region who gathered here have agreed that government need to get more committed towards the fight against corruption to win the continent of the canker. From the Kempinski Gold Coast Hotel here in Accra, my name is James Savaji, reporting for Joy News.
And here in the studios of Joy News, my name is Elton Bob. We'll take a short break. When we return, we'll deal with election-related matters here on the Pulse. Stay on. Welcome back to the Pulse here on Joy News. And of course, we are now right into your election headquarters. And your election headquarters, as always, is brought to you by Petrosol, your clean fuel in full quantity, Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, and the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants, and of course, the German Ozone Medical Center, Alternative Therapy, Dental Wellness, and Beauty. Election headquarters for informed electorates. Right, so the Commission says all technical challenges that halted the limited voter registration exercise have been resolved across the country and across the districts that registration is taking place. The first day of the exercise yesterday, Tuesday, was hit by internet disruption and other technical hitches that stalled the process for hours, leaving applicants and party agents stranded. The Electoral Commission says it has since resolved these challenges to pave the way for smooth registration. My colleague Nana Boachi Yadom, he's been visiting some centers in the Ashanti region and joins us for more. So Nana, you're welcome to the Pulse. So is there two? And the EC is giving assurance that everything is working according to plan. Where you visited, is everything going smoothly?
So this is the second day of the limited voter registration exercise. We are currently at the EC head office here in the Ashanti region. Unlike yesterday, the EC has been able to resolve all technical and internet issues that affected the process yesterday. Well, today, the EC started at exactly 7 a.m. and then we have some applicants who have successfully passed through the process. They have gotten their card very, very early, and some of them are even leaving here. We'll try and speak to one or two of them, but then this is the head office of the EC housing about 6 constituencies, Bantama, Inshaya, so Mensha South and Mensha North, with 2 other constituencies included. We would be engaging with some of the applicants who are yet to get their card from the EC. But then there is one lady who has been through the process. I'm trying to get her so we can get to talk to her, but then that will be later. Let's try to speak to this lady here. What time did you get here?
Around 8 o'clock.
Around 8 o'clock?
Yeah.
How has the process been? You've not been through any process yet?
Nah, I've not been to any process yet.
But then, what are your expectations?
But I think it's going well and it's good too. So, yeah, all hating. That's all.
Why did you decide to partake in the exercise?
Because I want to vote and...
You want to vote?
Yeah.
You want to just vote, that's why you decided to come for the card?
That's for me, dear.
Why do you even want to vote in the first place?
Because I'm 18 and they told me that I should come and vote, that's why.
Oh, really? You just for voting's sake? Or you want to make sure that you maintain somebody, you take out somebody? Is that a motive?
It's all part.
It's all part.
Yeah.
Okay, so very soon we'll get to your turn, I guess. And so this is another lady who is getting ready for the process. The EC head office in the Ashanti region has a number of people coming in here, long queues. Some students are in waiting for their turn to get to register and get their cards and just leave this place. A lot of them are stranded as well because the place is crowded and they cannot get inside the registration center. We'll try speaking to one person who is done with the exercise. Hello, you're done with the process. How was it?
Everything was cool.
You got your card now?
Yes.
Can I see your card? Okay. But was it stressful?
No, everything was.
Did you experience any internet or technical hitches?
No, everything was cool. Like, we came early in the morning and the process was going on well. Everything was. We did everything well, and I thought we would be late, but we are done. So they said we should wait for our food. They will even supply food for us, so they said we should wait for our food.
Oh, they'll be even giving you food?
Yes.
Okay. But then let me ask, I always ask everybody why you decide to get your voter's ID card.
In Ghana, everything depends on democracy, right? So we have to choose our president, and we live in this economy. You have to be wise and choose the president that can help you. So me going into 21 years, I have to vote for the party that I want. That's why.
You decided to cover the card. But you are talking about the economy. How has the economy got to do with you getting your card?
Like in my mind, I decided not to vote, but when I saw what was going on, like.
You tell us what's going on.
Like you already know the economy, so
how is it?
I need not to explain it here because you know Ghana, right? So I won't explain it here. It's my mind. Yes.
It's your mind.
Yeah, it's my mind.
Thank you so much. But then now that you have your card, I'm sure everything is set for you, and then you're just waiting to leave here.
I'm done, but I'm waiting for the people that I came with. Yeah, they brought bus, so we wait for the bus so that she will leave.
They brought you through a bus?
Yeah.
Which people brought you here?
Napo. Napo, yes.
Okay, so from Insha South, I guess.
Insha South.
All right, sure. Thank you so much. And that is a lady who has been through the process. She says that, well, she has to be part of those who would make a decision or make a choice for us going into the December 7th election. She is hopeful in her mind that after getting this card, she can look through the current economic challenges or crisis and then make a choice for herself. And this is the situation here at the EC head office in the Ashanti region. We have to try and get to speak to some party agents. When we came here, we saw them raising some concerns with the EC, although the technical and the internet issues have been resolved. They were still raising some concerns. We want to speak to a few of them here and then get to see what their concerns are. Let me get to some of these party agents. Okay, for the NDC and the NPP, all those agents who are here, we tried getting one or two of them, but then it seems they are all not here. Okay, so the agent for the NDC, I'll try speaking to him. He's here. Okay, boss, how's the process been?
Oh, the process has been smooth, and we are looking forward to more voter registrants being around so that they will take their information and capture everything onto the system. But one thing I've noticed is, the guarantor system, you always take most of the queues. But once you come and you have your Ghana card, there is no problem. So, so far the process has been smooth. That is what I would say.
So the internet challenges that we were facing yesterday, everything is resolved, like everything is good?
Yeah, everything has been resolved and everything is running smoothly. That is what I would say.
Thank you so much. And that is an agent for the NDC, right? Okay, yes, so an agent for the National Democratic Congress. He says that the process has been smooth, unlike yesterday when they had some internet challenges. You can see this gentleman here. He's waiting for his turn so that he could get in, take his particulars and then get his voter's ID card. This is the Ashanti Regional Head Office of the Electoral Commission. for the limited voter registration exercise. Where I am standing is the Center for Bantama and Inshaeso constituencies. On my left, or my far right, we have Menchia South and Menchia North. And so this is the situation here at the EC head office in the Ashanti region. For Joy News, my name is Nana Boachidankwa.
Well, here in the Greater Accra region, NDC running mate Professor Jane Nano Pokwajiman has expressed her disappointment in the delay and mishap that characterized the first day of the Electoral Commission's limited voter registration exercise. While touring some registration centers in Accra this morning, the former Education Minister was pleased with the process so far.
Well, yesterday was chaotic, as we all know. The machines weren't working. Many places hadn't started on time, as was advertised. And therefore, today is much better. And my hope is that it continues, as it should. And in terms of yesterday, you know, I know there are machines and so on, but one would not have expected that on such a large scale, there'll be consistent problems. So definitely, if there were places, as I hear, where not even a single person was registered, or where very, very few people were registered because of challenges with the machines, then definitely the EC must make up for that time. If it's an extra day, it should be restored. Whatever it is, if it's a couple of hours, it should be extended to the following day, you know, just so that everybody registers. I think the job is to ensure that we facilitate the process. So it's not to frustrate people. I'm hopeful that wasn't the intention. All I'm saying is that, yes, people were frustrated because things weren't working. And I'm happy that today I haven't seen same. And I'm hopeful that as we go forward, we'll just have a smooth process. And that on the day of voting, we will never see anything like this.
Meanwhile, the NDC's Medina Constituency Secretary is warning persons perceived to belong to the governing MPP to desist from allegedly busing people from Achim-Wenchi to registration centers at Medina.
The message we would like to send across is Medina, both NDC and MPP, we have coexisted peacefully. We have never had any altercation whenever it comes to this kind of exercises. But until just some few days back, we got an intel that the MPP's candidates is busing some individuals precisely from Achim-Wenchi. And all that we would like to send, the message that we would like to send across is, we plead with them. They should remain in their towns and get registered. However, if they decide to go against the laws and come to Medina, we are equally ready for them. Some of them might end up not going back with their heads. That one we have prepared. And yesterday, for instance, you can see our security team were here in their numbers, and we are equally prepared for them. In short, we're just pleading with our colleagues on the other side, the peaceful coexistence that we have always enjoyed. Let us maintain that protocols, and everything will be fine, and we'll continue to enjoy our peace.
So away from your election headquarters, let's deal with also a very important matter here in the Greater Accra region. The Regional Security Council declares all Ramsar sites in Accra a security zone as they deploy armed men to patrol these areas. The Regional Coordinating Council last week visited both the Tema, Sakumono, and the Weja Ramsar sites and saw the level of devastation and encroachment on these areas. It emerged that despite warnings from the former regional minister, Henry Cote, for all construction works in the core zone to cease, hundreds of new structures have sprung up directly in the waterway with the help of faceless individuals, including foreign nationals. My colleague Michael Ashley was there with the regional minister and has this report.
Designate, in the company of other members of the Regional Coordinating Council, visited the Tema Sakumono Ramsar site. It emerged that some individuals were behind the sale of these lands.
I was there at the church. The man said he will get back to you. Has he come back to you?
So,
what answer my question.
Personally, he hasn't met us.
Names have been mentioned, right, throughout the conversation. You've heard names. Like who? He mentioned politically exposed people. There was one gentleman, the first gentleman, who categorically said all the houses in the area were sold by a gentleman called Lukman. Who is Lukman?
Do I know Lukman?
asking me, it is a very difficult question. How will I know who Lukman is? How will I know Mr. A or Mr. B?
Titus Glover says they are beginning to unmask the individuals behind the sale of these lands.
And let me send a warning to those in Tema. I'm told one Gideon, 102, and Lukman are behind the sale of the Ramsar. Nobody has title to the land there. If I hear or see any of them entering the Ramsar, they will have a problem with me.
The Coordinating Council is broadening its efforts to protect other Ramsar sites. At Makati Hill, the devastation was staggering. It was revealed that a group of foreign-owned companies were actively filling the Ramsar with laterite.
We're here to witness for myself how they are pushing. I'm told he's a Chinese. He's pushing this thing. He must stop now. Now. So that we can save lives and property. Okay. If I see any truck with sand and stones to fill that place, I'll pick him. Okay. If I see, I'll put police and soldier here. No truck with sand, bring here to fill the land and push. What you have got now is enough. Okay? Yeah.
The Ramsar site now spans approximately 1.9 million square miles, although it used to be larger. However, encroachments persist unabated. Encroachers have become increasingly audacious in their activities.
This land is it's owned by the Forestry Commission. It's part of the Ramsar. So whatever you are doing, the filling, stop it.
Okay.
The filling that you are doing, stop it.
Okay.
If I see you doing any filling again, we'll arrest you.
No problem.
So please stop the filling.
Authorities maintain that the Ramsar site is entirely owned by the government and anyone occupying it lacks proper documentation and is considered an illegal squatter. However, Ni Ofei Danso, who identified himself as the traditional ruler of the area, assessed that the land belongs to his family.
Years back, Danso, they can hand you could do Danso the first. You call the land title, lands commissioner, quite a fee search,
While they previously operated under the cover of darkness, now some of their trucks carrying laterite can be observed even during daylight hours, transporting materials to fill the waterlogged area.
Yeah, feeling my block to be
It was a bittersweet moment for some individuals who had recently acquired parcels of land.
So whatever you've paid, go and collect your money. I will make sure we'll sanitize this place so that people's life can be protected. I'm pleading with you, Mr. Mills. So go and collect your money. So all these filling, those who have contracted these trucks and dumping stones and sand to reclaim the waterlogged lands. These are Ramsar. Nobody has title to this land.
The Regional Coordinating Council fears that if the Ramsar site disappears, more areas will be prone to flooding. The water that once collected in the basin after heavy rains will now find its way into people's homes.
The activities here is becoming like a parasite to the environment. The regional minister says, for now, it should be a stop work and stop filling the area. For Joy News, Michael Ashali.
Well, let me bring in the regional minister designate for the Greater Accra region, Titus Glover. Honorable Minister, you're welcome to the pulse here on Joy News.
My name is wrongly mentioned.
Honorable Titus Glover, I guess I got it right now. It's a pleasure.
I'll definitely correct you.
Of course. Of course. And it's been a while. I trust you are doing good.
I know. I'm managing.
Right. And clearly, it must be very frustrating. I mean, visiting the Ramsar, looking at the level of destruction to the land, and then on top of it, knowing very well that nobody has any document to say that they owe the Ramsar. Yet, we have buildings sitting on waterways and exactly on the Ramsar. How are you going about bringing the kind of discipline that is required to ensure that the Ramsar is protected?
First of all, let me say good evening to all your listeners and your viewers. Yes, indeed, it's troubling, very, very worrying when you look at the extent of impunity, recklessness, and disregard to right people how they want this great to do. It means that there's a lot of work to do together as a people. My predecessor, Nobody Korte, has done so well. He managed to do it right. So when I took over, I decided to ascertain things for myself. Because we have two types of the Ramsar. We have the core area and we have the back. Now, encroachers have eaten deep and even past the proper and now entering into the core area. And you know, Ghana has signed this Ramsar protocol. So it is indeed for us to adhere to whatever treaties that we sign so long as this Ramsar site is concerned. So I decided to find this myself with the Brexit members. And to my surprise, what I saw, my brother, this is lagoon, and 2-4 steps away, there's somebody's property. My predecessor even marked a place for them not even trespass, and they are eating into it. So clearly, it is important that we need to take some drastic action. So yesterday, before the Tema and the Sakumo area, we went to the Wija and the Ansuma area, and that is even worse of all. All the water from the hills, the McCarthy Hills, from Mount area, are all absorbed around the Wija Malab side.
Right.
That gradually moves towards Ansuma, and you could see the opportunity at which they are dumping laterite just to reclaim the land bank. So we did an assessment yesterday at the Regional Security Council, and we resolved that we need to declare the whole area a security area. That is number one. The assemblies in Wija, Bawe, Ablikuma West, Tema West, Metro Assembly, we need to erect some signposts telling these guys to get themselves out of that place.
Right.
We are coming to put security right at the places to make a 24-hour surveillance in these areas. Because the picture of this development is that His Excellency President Akufo is sitting at the Jubilee Avenue, and the purity at which these people are working has nothing to do with it. But immediately flooding and gaps in most places, the first person to be vilified, to be insulted and attacked is exactly the president.
Right.
And that's my worry.
So
and
this
giving
clearing.
the authority and the money to work on his behalf.
So
the respect decision yesterday was that nobody should go to the land and work. Nobody should go there. We have declared the place a security zone. And will be deployed. We are organizing ourselves and deploy. But in the meantime, the assemblies of these affected areas must erect signposts declaring these areas a Ramsar site, and nobody should go there and do any development, whether land claiming or filling or whatever.
But no, but what about those? What about those who've built?
Hold on.
Yes.
As I speak to you now, the assembly member for Lecture area, I met him, and he showed me a video when you are driving from I've forgotten this place heading towards Klago.
All right.
Shalom Fort. When you get to Shalom Fort, heading towards Klago, he tells me somebody is taking part of the lagoon. He has filled and is concretizing the whole place.
The lagoon.
The lagoon. And the young boy really died recently, a few days ago. Why are we doing this to ourselves?
So I was asking those who have built already, would they see their buildings demolished since they have acted illegally?
There's some work that has been done by my predecessor, the Land Commission and the Forestry Commission. And there are some people outside the catchment area, around the buffer area, that they need to regularize. But anybody who is in the core area, definitely, it will be touched.
Okay.
It will be touched. So long as you are in the water, we're inside the water, we pull it down. But those outside the water, within the buffer area, they have taken all their data, their everything, that we are going to assist them to get it regularized for the Forestry Commission, back to the Land Commission, then they can have a title to the land.
Meaning they will have to pay for the land that they've taken illegally.
When they regularize, definitely some money will go to the Forestry Commission, the Land Commission, including the Assembly itself, where they are sited. And make sure we protect the rest of the land that is not touched.
Is there any action being taken on, for example, Lukman, Ni, and Otu, names that we heard last week?
Nothing yet as of now. I've told them I don't want to see them in the Ramsar area. They should not make any attempt to enter into the Ramsar. Because neither have been declared a security zone. If we see them there, we'll arrest them.
And for the security personnel that you are deploying to protect the Ramsar, they're going to be there until when?
But yesterday we took the decision. We are yet to have some other discussion with the CDS and the Army Chief and the IGP and see how we can do the deployment. So that was yesterday was the decision we took at Ramsar. Now we need to take it further, have a discussion with the CDS and the IGP, and look for resources and make sure we roll it out.
All right, thank you so much. The regional minister designate for the Greater Accra region, Titus Global, and he's waging a war on those who have illegally taken the Ramsar, turn it into land for their own, private use. But away from the Ramsar, the Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, Sam Jonah, is asking government to position the country to benefit from the fifth industrial revolution that's likely to be powered by artificial intelligence technologies. Addressing the fourth consortium of academic and research libraries in Ghana conference at Gampa, Sir Jonah underscored AI's pivotal role as a catalyst for economic innovation on a global scale. Rejoice Semifa Pesu has more.
The consortium of academic and research libraries in Ghana is advocating for the integration of artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, and other forms of artificial intelligence tools in library systems across Ghana. This move aims to enhance the efficiency and effectiveness of library operations, including cataloging, search capabilities, user services, and resource management. By leveraging AI technologies, libraries can streamline processes, provide personalized recommendations, and offer innovative services to meet the evolving needs of persons in the digital age. Businessman and Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, Sir Sam Jonah, has indicated that the world is probably on the verge of experiencing the fifth industrial revolution, with artificial intelligence becoming a driver of innovation for many countries.
Today, we find ourselves at a critical crossroad. AI is no longer a mere tool, but indeed it is a fundamental driver of innovation across all sectors. The implications and challenges of AI extend beyond the confines of our libraries and education institutions. Indeed, it touches every aspect of our society. The global AI market is expected to soar to $190 billion by 2025, indeed growing at an astonishing rate of 36.6% annually. We are perhaps on the brink of a fifth industrial revolution where AI will not just streamline data management and retrieval, but fundamentally redefine how we interact with information itself. In the business realm, companies like Netflix and Amazon are already using AI to predict consumer preferences, revolutionizing the customer experience. In academia, AI tools are revolutionizing research methodologies, and aiding in peer review processes, pushing the boundaries of human capability and knowledge discovery. For journalists, AI provides tools for real-time fact verification and automates routine reporting, freeing up time for investigative journalism that ensures the integrity of public discourse. And of course, in marketing, AI's predictive analytics are crafting personalized campaigns that enhance customer experience, satisfaction, and loyalty. Within our libraries, ladies and gentlemen, and information centers, AI is transforming more than just search and retrieval. It is indeed revolutionizing how we acquire resources, personalized learning, and even how we provide research support through virtual assistants.
Professor at the Department of Computer Science of the University of Ghana, Ferdinand Kachiriku, says the fundamental traditional roles of libraries will still be functional despite the integration of AI.
As we embrace the possibilities of an artificially intelligent world, let us not lose sight of the fundamental purpose of libraries to inspire curiosity, foster creativity, and promote lifelong learning among learners of all ages and backgrounds. I see now the emergence of social and research commons in a number of universities across the country. These concepts have to be developed further. The physical spaces must now serve other purposes, a space where students can meet and interact, sharing ideas, organizing of special meetings on topics, inviting special guests to come and interact with the students. Let's note, many students who visit the libraries to do so, today do so not only because of the resources available there, but also because they want a quiet place where they can study. For researchers, we can begin to explore this new concept of what I will call knowledge results. Our libraries can begin to serve this purpose, providing private places to which one can come, in inverted commas, hide for a few days whilst working on an important project, especially one which requires a couple of days of focused work to complete. This shift towards a competency-based model of education necessitates a corresponding evolution in the role of libraries within the educational ecosystem.
The consortium believes that the integration of AI into the library system will transform libraries beyond just researching and retrieval.
The Bono East Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Fred Adomako-Boateng, has made an appeal to parents to take advantage of the African Vaccination and Child Health Promotion Week to ensure that children up to 2 years receive the right doses of vaccines required to protect them against preventable diseases. He made a call in Kintampo where he noted the platform serves as a mover for people who missed various vaccination opportunities in the past. And as Abet has more.
The goal of the African Vaccination Week is simple yet profound. The week focuses on emphasizing the importance of protecting every person's right from vaccine-preventable diseases by strengthening immunization programs across the African region. Bono East Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Fred Adomako-Boateng, highlighted that the aim of the celebrations is to keep immunizations high on national and regional agenda towards delivering life-saving interventions for happier and healthier communities.
Why the African Vaccination Week? It's important we do this because when we put a week to this, the publicity is really, really hard. And this, we are able to capture some of the mothers who are not able to bring their children during the routine things. And we have learned this over and over, especially even with COVID vaccines, where when we have these campaigns, we see that we are able to have huge access in terms of people who require the vaccines. In addition to this week, we also encourage mothers to take their wards to the weighing centers where we'll be able to weigh them and know when we match their weight and height, whether they are growing properly. They are growing properly. And if they are not growing properly, it's an opportunity for the mothers to be given education, the kind of foods that they are supposed to be given. And I also want to add this, that we have even added malaria vaccines, so that this is an opportunity for those of us who don't know that. Now look, malaria is one of the routine drugs that our children are also supposed to get when they visit our hospital.
Dr. Fred Almakobatin was, however, quick to note that the purpose of the week-long celebrations was also to serve as a mop-up exercise for people who genuinely or deliberately miss the various vaccination exercises, to provide them with another opportunity to be captured.
It's a form of a mop-up, with all these reasons. And in fact, some people genuinely may miss, or some people deliberately may miss. This week is supposed to champion, is supposed to make, we are supposed to publicize it in such a way that everybody will have the opportunity to have it.
He, however, emphasized that the region has performed better in terms of coverage over the years, but health authorities are aiming at leaving no child behind.
When we look at the coverage, when it comes to vaccines in Bunuis, we are not doing bad at all. We really have a target which we use to indicate whether we are doing well or not. And the percentage is covering 90% of children that you are supposed to, which is Penta 3. We are more than 90% as in Bunuis. But the caveat is that we really don't want to leave any child behind, even if it's one. And that is the drive for us, because we know that even with all these that we are doing, we have had occasion of 1-2 cases. So the higher the herd immunity, the better for us.
The theme for this year's African Vaccination Week is Vaccinated Communities, Healthy Communities, and there are calls upon political leaders and policy makers to prioritize immunization, increase domestic funding, and raise awareness about the importance of vaccinations. Anna Sabit, Joy News, Kintampo.
Well, before we go, let me take you outside the borders of Ghana, because a German politician and member of the European Union Parliament was attacked recently whilst putting up campaign posters. It is the latest incident that is part of an alarming trend in the country, attacks on politicians. DW correspondent Emily Lashna joins us with more from Berlin. So, Emily, what do we know about the attack and the victim?
Hi, thanks for having me. Well, the man who was attacked is named Matthias Ecke. He's an elected member of European Parliament and a member of the center-left Social Democrats, which is the party of Chancellor Olaf Scholz. And he was in Dresden, as you said, hanging up campaign posters for the European parliamentary elections that are coming up in June, when he was brutally attacked. He suffered a broken cheekbone and an eye socket and required emergency surgery. And we now know that there were 4 attackers between the ages of 17 and 18, and one of them is said to have ties to right-wing ideology. And though this attack has gotten quite a bit of attention, including a condemnation from Olaf Scholz, it wasn't the only one that day. Campaign workers for the Green Party were assaulted on the same street less than 1 hour before this incident with Matthias Ecke.
And are these attacks happening because of proximity to the EU election, or is part of a larger trend?
Well, I mean, it's certainly easier to target someone when you see them putting up campaign posters. So you could say that that is in part because of the upcoming elections. But it would also be ignoring that there has been a significant uptick in attacks on politicians over the past few years. There has certainly been a rise. The German government put out a report that shows that last year there were around twice as many physical and verbal threats on political representatives as there were in 2019. 2019. That's nearly 2,800 reported incidents. And the attacks have been primarily directed at members of the Social Democrats and the Green Party. Just to give you some examples, the deputy mayor of Essen, a city in Western Germany, was assaulted just one day before this incident with Matthias Ecke and the Green Party workers. The home of a Social Democrats politician was set on fire after he organized a demonstration against right-wing extremism. And then just barely a week ago, demonstrators attacked the car that was carrying the vice president of German parliament, and she was unable to get to a campaign event. And unfortunately, there are a lot more. The list goes on.
Another question will be, what impact is this having on the political atmosphere in Europe?
Well, it's certainly alarming for politicians, especially perhaps for some of the local level officials that don't have the type of security that someone is provided when they're at the federal level. That's precisely why the heads of the 16 internal German states, as well as the federal interior minister, held a special meeting yesterday. They discussed what could be done to better protect politicians, both on the local and the federal level. And there was a poll taken recently that showed that more than 40% of the 6,400 German mayors that they surveyed said that they had been threatened or insulted or physically attacked. So, yeah, it's certainly very, very scary for politicians. But I think what's important to focus on is perhaps not the chilling effect this trend might have on someone who's interested in becoming politically involved, whether it's running for office or helping distribute campaign material, but what this trend reflects about our current political and social landscape, and that there's an undeniable deepening polarization between people with different beliefs, different ideologies, and it's giving rise to some extreme violence.
Right, Emily Leshner is with our partners at DW. Thank you very much. Well, that's our show for today. For more stories, log on to our website, mindjoyonline.com, and we have stories making rounds. I won't protect your legacy of corruption, bankrupt economy. Mahama replies, Akufo-Addo. We have so much stories from the court sitting today. My name is Elton Grobe. Tomorrow, same time on the Pulse, we'll have another edition. Tomorrow is May 9. Remember that May 9, 2001, 126 soccer fans lost their lives. Tomorrow we have a special remembrance on the show. Until then, you have a good evening. Whatever you're up to in the hours ahead, I hope it's profitable. See you tomorrow. Have a good evening.